I quit my job about 3 months ago to start my own business, and because I've been talking about it so much, naturally I've been getting more and more questions. So today I thought I'd talk about why I actually quit my job, how I knew I was ready, and I also asked you guys to ask me a couple questions on Instagram if you had any. So that's what we're gonna do today. If you guys are new, hi, my name is Kiana. I spent many years, I'm joking, like maybe up to 3-4 years working as an actuarial analyst and also like during internships. So I did 2 years full-time and 16 months as an intern. So I was ready to, make this my whole life career, and I just kind of decided I didn't want to. But if you knew me personally, this didn't surprise you. I've always talked about wanting to quit my job because I always knew it wasn't for me. So let's rewind a little bit. I chose this career when I was 14 years old. Very young, I know, but it simply was because I was good at math, and growing up my mom was really trying to push me towards becoming a doctor or just any career in STEM. So out of engineering, medicine, and math, my mom wasn't even really considering math because as far as we knew, studying math really just meant you had the option to be a math teacher or to do research. But I actually learned about the actuarial career really young because Columbia University came to my high school in Jamaica and they did a presentation on being an actuary, and they talked about it being very statistical, very analytical, and very high paying. So I was like, all right, bet, like that's what I'm gonna do. So since I chose my career path at 14, I just didn't look elsewhere. I never considered anything anyone said to me. I was just like, I've already chosen my career. It's high paying. It's gonna be really techie, mathy, well respected. Like I've done my part. Fast forward to university. In the first year of university, I already knew I didn't want to be in the career. As we kind of went through the courses, I just found that I lacked interest. And how I was able to identify that is because of the interest I had in courses like econ, marketing. I just didn't have that for my math courses. But I just also had this resistance to giving up because I was always told constantly growing up, oh, everybody's gonna be doing business, everybody's gonna be doing marketing, everybody's gonna be an accountant, like don't choose those career paths. So I was just like, well, I want to get a job that I know I'm gonna have. And the actuarial field at the time was very undersaturated. It was becoming more and more saturated, but I was just at that perfect point, maybe when I was in first year in 2016, right? So at that point, there was still a lot of room for entry in the actuarial field. It wasn't that competitive. I knew I had it down. So yeah, I just kept on the path. I was like, maybe I just don't like school. I just need to grow up. I began my first internship at the end of my third year of university. I didn't hate the internship, but I wasn't interested in the work. So this is the same problem coming up. I'm just not interested in what I'm doing. And the thing about it is you don't need to love your job. I've spoken about this so many times before in my vlogs on my channel. You don't need to love your 9 to 5, but there's just something indescribable about being able to love what you do for work. And I think the thing about it was I knew many friends in urban planning, in product development that just spoke about their jobs with so much passion. They loved what they did, and I was just jealous because I was like, here am I liking social psychology, liking marketing, liking certain courses that I didn't even consider because I was told I'm not going to be able to get a job post-grad if I take those career paths. So yeah, for years, my friends have always heard me just say, oh, I want to quit my job to do something else. And it was never really about I want to quit my job to start my own business. It was just that I need to quit my job because I know I'm not passionate about this, and I want to be passionate about the work that I do. Because if you know me, you know that I do love to work. My channel, my entire channel revolved around me just being productive and wellness and like taking care of myself and going after goals. Like I love to work. I love productivity, but I want to work on things that I am passionate about. I like to help people, and that's the thing. It's like I was able to kind of recognize what are the tasks within my job that I like to do, what are the tasks in my life that I enjoy doing, and a lot of them come to building things or growing things or just advertising or analyzing. Like there are parts of my job that I enjoyed, but I just did not like being an actuarial analyst in a life insurance company, So yeah, long story short, I quit my job because I just wasn't passionate about it, and the plan wasn't necessarily to start a business, but I just kind of said, you know what, I have a lot of experience as a freelancer. I spent 3 years doing freelance marketing. Well, at this point now it's been 3 years doing freelance marketing, and I was like, you know what, let's just go for it. Because at the end of the day, if me running my own marketing agency just didn't work out, at least I know what I like to do in this new path. And also, since doing my own thing, I've been able to network so much. I've met a lot of small business owners, and in talking to them, I even start to understand what are other areas in their business that they need help with. So even from like a business point of view, it's like there are products or tools or just certain things I could build to assist business owners. And even in that too, running my own business, I'm so involved in every area of my business, from marketing to client outreach to the finances and all that stuff. Like, I'm seeing so many sides of one business that's making me realize, how can I then go back to a 9-to-5 if I needed to, and where in that 9-to-5 would I fit best? Would I fit best in the HR department, doing community management, doing, you know, what could I do in another company that's more suited to my skill set and to what I enjoy? So yeah, it's really just like a exploration to figure out myself more, but I knew I wasn't gonna get that from staying at my 9-to-5 job. Number 2, how did I know I was ready? This is a really hard question because I probably was ready sooner than later. I was ready years back and I was just kind of not ready to take the plunge. Honestly, had I not moved downtown Toronto, I probably would have quit my job last July. That was actually my plan, to quit my job last July. But because I decided to move in June, that just didn't seem like a choice. And then as the year kind of went closer and closer towards the end, it got to September and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want to have to stay at my job for another year just because I decided to live downtown. One, because I do want to continue living downtown beyond this year. So it's just like, we're just still gonna have to quit either way. So why wait till then, and why not just do it now? So what I kind of did to mentally prep myself is, one, I gave myself until the end of the year. So in September is when I really kind of said, yo, I'm gonna quit my job in November. And I didn't come into that and say, oh, we're quitting our job in 2 weeks, we're quitting our job next week. It's like, no, I'm gonna give myself 3 months ish to kind of just mentally prepare, do everything I need to do, budget the way I need to budget, talk to my parents in case things don't work out and I need support, like set things up in place. And I was not gonna rush myself into that because, again, I now moved downtown. Like, financially, I knew it was something I needed to make sure I know what I'm doing. And just also, if I'm gonna quit my job to be a barista, because that's what I do now. I work part-time as a barista, I work part-time at a career coaching business, and I run my own business. Like, if I'm gonna be doing all of that, I need to have my eggs in the basket. Is that the saying? Like, I need to have my shit together. So I spent a lot of time getting that ready. Next question, how did you take your business from zero to launch? I don't really think it came from zero. Like I said, I've been doing freelance for a while, so it really was just a transition. I think the things that I've been building up on are processes and templates, because I really only did freelance for 2 people steadily, so I never had to and I'm technically for one of them an employee of their business, but for the other one I was just I've just always had this client. So I just started setting up the email, getting a domain for when I'm ready to build out my website, and just kind of learning as I go. Honestly, I think with each new connection I make in the business world, that's when I kind of realize, oh, I kind of need this, I don't have this, let's set this up. Even the other day, just payment tools such as Stripe, I just made that the other day because somebody needed it to pay for something, and they were like, well, I use Stripe, can we use Stripe? And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna make a Stripe, so I've just been learning as I'm going. How do you keep a work-life balance? I really struggled with this from the aspect of, how do I keep a life balance? How do I make sure I'm taking care of myself always? As I said, I do enjoy working, and I also tend to put a lot of pressure on myself, so I'm always just trying to find a way to justify why I need to be working, as opposed to prioritizing myself, honestly. Simple things like keeping my room clean, or cooking dinner for myself, or going for a run. I will always find excuses to say, no, Kiana, you just need to be at your desk typing away or editing away, when it's I've been used to pushing myself to burnout. I've done it more than once in the past, so I know that the more I sit here and convince myself all I need to do is work, that's just gonna take me close to burnout. And what I'm not trying to do is constantly be on this scale where I'm close to burnout, pulling it back, close to burnout, pulling it back. No, I need to have systems in place, have routines in place that force me to get my ass to the gym, or go for a run, or sit down in my bed as soon as I wake up and journal. These are things I just have to do, and I don't make it a negotiable thing anymore. I say, Kiana, you're not gonna start working till we stretch, you're not gonna start working till we journal, so just get it out of the way, whether you want to prioritize this or not. kind of look talking to myself honestly as if I'm a coach to myself. That's a big tip I would really give to people, is to have a side of you that's like the coach to yourself. And I think this really just helps me with discipline, because on one hand you could look on it and you could say, because it's interesting, on one hand I could look on myself and say I'm not that disciplined because there's another half of me that's just making sure I'm organized and I'm staying on track, you know? Like that's actually how it feels sometimes. Like, am I really disciplined, or is the coach side of me just saying, girl, like get going, like let's do this, you know? But yeah, that's how I pretty much manage work-life balance. I could do a better video explaining this, but I have my calendar. I follow my calendar. If things need to be moved around, I'll move it around in the context of what needs to be prioritized. But I just always have work to do, and I know what I need to do to keep my life going. I need to, you know, I as I get older, my friendships and my family relationships, that's really important to me. So I do what I need to do to make sure that everything in my life that's important gets prioritized and my work gets done as well. The most rewarding thing about having your business, honestly, being able to learn. I have learned so much, and just now I'm stepping into the phase of networking more. So I'm just learning a lot from people all the time. I'm learning a lot from articles, and there's just something, like I said, the whole reason I quit my job is to do what I'm passionate about. There's just something so special about being able to learn about things you're so interested in learning about. Like, I'm just such a nerd for marketing. I've always been such a nerd for marketing. Like, even just simple things as watching TV and just being so impressed by how ads were seamlessly coming up in shows like Family Guy, or not even seamless, but like how they would just do ad placements in different shows. I was always interested in advertising and marketing, and like I just, yeah, I'm so grateful that I'm at a point where like everything I'm learning about my business is just something I'm interested in doing. Biggest setback when starting my business, I think the only setback I have is the fact that I don't get to just kind of take time off as easily. When I worked 9 to 5, I was able to get time off and still get paid. If I want to make money, I still have to keep working, and I will say I feel like I'm constantly working, but also I just think this is a part of me growing up. Like, the lifestyle I've been living has been very like fun, silly, ha ha ha, and I have also just grown into knowing that I need to get more serious about things, especially when it comes to having goals and dreams. Like, let's actually really work towards them, you know? Like, if you want to work towards something, you have to learn to prioritize it, and a part of prioritizing is just not having time for the other things in life that, even though you want to do, just simply aren't as important right now. Where were you working before? I worked at a life insurance company in Canada called Canada Life. XOXO. Why did you switch careers? I think I kind of talked on that already. Not that passionate about it. Wanted to do something that I was passionate about. When did you realize that you don't want to do actual work anymore? Immediately. I'm joking. I mean, yes, I'm not joking. Very soon in my internship. But I also knew I wasn't ready to leave immediately, because there's a lot that you gain out of a 9 to 5. Like, just even understanding the processes. Like, a lot of the processes I would use in different areas of my life, in different types of work that I do, my part-time jobs, my current business. Like, being an actuarial analyst really helped me with creating processes and like laying out outlines before diving into things. And yeah, those are skills you could learn from anywhere, but those are skills that I learned there. And just even understanding the importance of the idea side of work versus like the very technical side of work. I think it's so funny. In my actuarial work, I was really interested in like the idea side of things. Like, when you work in a pricing team and you get to like think about, oh, what will we do to figure out what goes into coming up with the price of an insurance product. I found that really cool. But there's another side of that job where you're the developer, or not really the developer, but you're building out the Excel models and all this stuff that help the advisors to price these tools, and like I'm not as interested in that side. So I could have been an actuary on the more idea side of it, but at the end of the day, even though I found that really, really interesting, I just found marketing and advertising and campaign management way more interesting. And I would rather, if I'm gonna choose a career, even though you can switch careers, if I'm gonna choose a career that I'm gonna do for the rest of my life, I'd rather just do, like, I'm 26, I can make that decision now. And worst case, if I want to go back into the actuarial field, I can, you know? nothing's stopping you. And the interesting thing is, at my career coaching business that I work at right now, I work with people that are in their 30s and 40s that are switching careers and switching into the actuarial career, and they're able to do it. So there's no limitation on being able to take a step back and go backwards into the actuarial field if I want to. And I think the interesting thing about it is that sometimes it may feel like, oh, if I go back to being an actuary, then it means that I failed at what I'm doing here. And it's like, no, I'm not, because my whole purpose with what I'm doing now is to find out what exactly I want out of life, find out what exactly I enjoy doing, and do it. But yeah, those are all the questions that I got. It's a Sunday. I'm unfortunately working today, but I'm almost done. I'm about to go see my family. I'm gonna go for a long walk soon because it's sunny in Toronto, which we love to see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, or the podcast if you're watching the audio version, and I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast.